Testing. All right, I can see my camera. I can hear myself. And we're ready to start this quick live review. Now, electric cars are very controversial within car culture. No one wants to pay attention to them because we want to hold on to internal combustion engines for one reason: noise, experience, smell. Also, it's more complex than an electric car. There's a transmission, there's differentials, there's other mechanical components. So making a great internal combustion car and engine is really interesting to the car community because it shows engineering, passion, what engineers can do together to make a car. And it could even be as simple as a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla. There will always be love for internal combustion engines, but with the whole thing of climate change and lots of regulations, especially from the European Union, saying, "Yo, we gotta put more regulations. Only electric cars by 2035, 2030, something like that." And it gets very controversial because making an electric car does more damage to the environment than making a internal combustion car. It's just I think it's still fact. And also, electric cars are still very experimental. They're new technology. They have not been perfected. Internal combustion cars have been fully perfected, I'd say, by now. Like a small economy car, something like in this game, Toyota Aqua or Prius, they've been perfected. Those are hybrids actually, and they have been perfected. But a full electric car, like the one I'm reviewing today, is still very experimental. We don't have the technology to completely overtake internal combustion cars. We also don't have the charging network to compete with petrol and diesel filling stations. We just don't have the infrastructure as well for that. And the inconsistencies of charging an electric car just makes electric cars not viable right now. Maybe in cities, first world cities like Los Angeles, New York, I'm assuming London, uh, definitely probably Tokyo. I'm pulling up the big ones out of my ass right now because I don't know any other cities. I live in South Africa, and we have something called load shedding, and it is rubbish. Basically, the electrical grid doesn't have enough supply for the demand, and we basically get no electricity for 2 to 4 hours a day, and sometimes it could be multiple times a day. So it could be up to 12 hours of no electricity, or it could be as little as 1 hour of no electricity per day. I'm getting 2 hours today at 10 o'clock p.m. So great stuff. And with that problem, an electric car in this country makes zero sense. Another problem with electric cars: where's the electricity coming from for those charging stations? Coal? Now you're pretty much straight on the grid. More pollution from the power stations, coal power stations. It's just that simple. We don't have the technology to have these cars fully ready, but I don't know. Regulators and governments are jumping on this, but we're not there yet. I think we just need to fully perfect the internal combustion engine to the point where 1 liter for a big V8 engine, something like that. 1 liter for every 100 kilometers for a humongous V8 or Vita or something like that, before we can fully jump onto electric. But I'm not saying electric is not the way. It's developing very, very fast. And this Porsche Taycan, or Porsche, I'm just going to say Porsche. I say Porsche. The Porsche Taycan, fantastic car. At least represented in this game. Now, in a perfect world where there's no such thing as the charge rates going down, no such thing as, heat for the batteries and motors, this car's amazing. So, in this game, this car is heavy. This is a 2.3 ton car, and weight is not good when it comes to track driving and racing. But I think weight has benefits of this car. Because there's weight, you don't need a humongous wing. You don't need a old fancy aerodynamics to keep the car settled. Look at it. It looks great, and the weight keeps it planted, very planted, because its weight distribution is also fantastic. 52 to the back, 48 to the front. That's great. That's very good balance for a car. And also, the center of gravity for this car is right underneath everything. In the middle of the car, in between the wheels, is the humongous battery. So that keeps this car very planted. But I will say that balance requires suspension. So let's take a quick look at the setup. Here for car settings, we have a fully customizable suspension. This car needs suspension. Here it's a little bit lowered compared to standard. I think it's standard 65 and then 70. Anti-roll bars on 1. You need anti-roll on 10 here. This car loves to lean because weight. Even though the weight is down low, it's still a lot of weight. We have damping ratio at 25, which is lower for the compression, and maximum expansion. Now, the reason I did this is because while I was learning how to drive this car and set it up for this review, I found that in the replay, the wheel would just be bouncing the whole time like this. You do not want this constant bouncing, or what is it called, porpoising. You've probably seen it in Formula 1. The car just keeps bouncing and the wheel keeps jittering. You do not want that. You want the wheels to be as planted as smooth to the road as possible to maintain grip. So we have expansion, which is the suspension doing this. We wanted to keep it to a minimum, but we want the car to have a nice cushion of compression. So that's why compression is nice and soft, expansion is nice and strict. Now I can go to 3.3 or 3 hertz, but the wheel was still jumping and jittering like this. Putting it down to 2 is perfect. In fact, it allows the car to scavenge more grip, because at 3 there was just understeer. Now at 2, the body rotation, you can, like, the car's leaning, it is scavenging, grip, so that the car can not understeer, can also turn. It rotates. Rotation under coasting. And camber 1 and 0.5. Camber, you do whatever. I just like to keep my camber as straight as possible. Toe angle, none for me. You can't do anything with differential. Can't do anything with transmission. And surprisingly, electric cars don't need a transmission. But Porsche did put a 2-speed in this. And it's, first gear is just pure acceleration. That's just, launch control, foot flat on the brake, acceleration, drop the brake, mash it, it's gone. That's for acceleration. And the second gear is for high-speed acceleration. So this is for instantaneous acceleration, and this is for high-speed acceleration. You can't change the transmission here because electric car. Ballast, we got 38 to the back just to get a grab a controller. Grab a nice 2333. I like my numbers. All the way to the back. That doesn't change the balance at all. I just, slightly high number. Power restrictor, 100%. You can get a ECU for this. You can see normal 751 horsepower. That's a lot of power. Here you got 773, a lot of power, and 795. That's a ton of power. This is a 800 horsepower electric beast. It is fast out of the corners. And it's 4-wheel drive. Motor in the front, motor in the back. Basically a motor on each axle. Here we don't have any big wings or splitters or skirts or diffusers. Just the car in its, normal appeal. So 60 in the front, 8 in the back. Again, you don't really need it because the balance and the weight keep this car on the ground. There's no such thing as front nose lift from a humongous crest. There's no lack of downforce when taking a high-speed corner. It's just, there's weight. There is weight. Weight can be an advantage for track driving. Of course, you can't do any type of turbocharging, supercharging. Of course, no intake or exhaust. Brakes, very important. And I'll explain to you why. This car has, to me, I will call it 2-stage braking. I don't know if it's an actual term, but it's sort of 2-stage braking. First stage is, because it's an electric car, regenerative braking. The friction of the car slowing down that power is being sent to the batteries. And because of that system, when you release everything on coast, the car will slow down dramatically. It almost feels like you're resting your foot 30% on the brakes. It's quite heavy. And then when you fully jam the brakes, then you're on the brakes. So I'll call it 2-stage braking because the regen effect really does slow you down. You can barely coast in this car, but that's good. Because of that system, when you are just coasting, the car will prevent any harsh rotation or snap oversteer, and it will kind of let the car naturally rotate as well. But For that to work, you need the suspension to be just right. It's too stiff, you're not gonna the rotation's not gonna feel natural. It's gonna feel artificial because the car's electronic differential system is gonna try to put rotation, no rotation, rotation, no rotation. It doesn't feel natural. So with this suspension and that regen system, rotation still feels quite natural against other rear-wheel drive cars. So we have the full braking system. We got carbon brakes, racing pads. You need brakes for this car. Even though it's got that harsh regen effect, it barely does anything when you're on the brakes. It almost does nothing. And again, it's mainly because of weight. 2.3 tons. It's not easy to slow down this car. It is not easy. I got a handbrake. Why not? And I send a one level of brake balance to the back. This car's back brakes are tiny. These brakes are minuscule compared to the front ones. So just putting a little bit to the back will again help with braking, and also with mid corner. I don't know if it's called trail braking, but mid corner braking to like settle the car down. The back wheels will just settle the car down again. You're kind of enforcing amnestia. And of course, steering angle adapter kit. Why not? And I can't do anything but clutch. No clutch, although I think there is for the transmission, but can't change it. No prop shaft, electric motors. Four-wheel steering. In real life, this car does have a four-wheel steering, but in this game, I don't think they added that type of simulation into this car. For reasons I don't know. I think it would have been cool to adjust how much rear steering system you get. And can't do any engine tuning. Electric motors once again. Bodywork, you can do a full body reduction, and this car can get as low as 1.5 tons. That's a lot of weight reduction. And if you're going to really do a lot of driving with this car in this game, just go full weightless and then add a big wing. It's gonna help this car tremendously. Balance is better. Everything is almost better. It's just, I don't know. I like driving cars on the stock level. It gives me an idea of what the car is like to experience in real life. And then increased body rigidity. Just add that in. I don't know what it does in real life. I don't know how you can add rigidity to electric car. Electric cars are really rigid because of their heavy and huge batteries underneath and the tight chassis to hold their batteries. They're just already rigid in life. But anyway, let's drive this car. Enough yapping about charging problems, electric cars, modifications. Let's do an event. Now, this event surprised me because it's actually just hypercars. So we're gonna go to a hypercar parade. The car is on hard, but with the latest 2 updates, they've removed kind of the heavy sort of rubber banding. There was an element of rubber banding in this game before those updates. Now it's been reduced. Sometimes it doesn't exist. Sometimes it is there. It's just the reality of playing with computers, I guess. Anyway, we had Kyoto Driving Park, Yamagiwa, and Miyabi. This track I've loved since sport. This is an amazing track. This track is actually very good to test the potential of a car. There's crests down, crests up. There's tight corners with camber, no camber. There's high speed corners. There's tight braking zones. This track is very good, very short, and also quite quick as well for quite a big track. Now the track is compact. Everything's close together. But the amount of length there is, it's quite a bit of a long track. Here we have proper cars. We have 918, Enzo, Vulcan, F12, Ford GT, a Bugatti. We have the what is this over here? The Veneno. We got SLRs. We got 177. We got proper hyper and supercars here with a electric car that rather rich people can only buy. This car is expensive in my country. For the spec I have here, it's about 5.5 million rand. In dollars, that's $200,000. Very expensive car, but because of this car in this game, it is now my number 1 favorite electric car. The Rimac Nevera, it's very cool, but it's not my number 1 because I don't think I'll ever be able to buy it in my lifetime. That is a $2 million hyper electric car. This, on the other hand, 5.5 million rand, 200,000 rand, dollars, sorry. Chance I would be able to own one in my life, but at the time I have the money for it, there'll be a new type of electric model, probably an even electric 911, which I would be fine with if it felt the same way a Taycan does. It would obviously be better, shorter and stuff, lighter and stuff. But yeah, if I had the money, I would buy one right now, just because of this game. But anyway, you saw this setup, you know the event. It's time to drive. Right, radar. Put that nice and low. Alright, let's go. Now, because I've been driving this car, you know, learning how to drive. I mean, you can see the odometer down there. 679 kilometers. This car has been used because of, well, I love how it drives. There's no noise except a cool little whirring sound from the electric motors. It's pretty cool. In real life, they play through the speakers. But okay, I can't show you this out now. This is all just wind noise. So yeah, but brake hard here. Let go of the brakes. Always put power this. Surprisingly, Porsche drives like Porsche. So what that means is that during corners, you control how much rotation you want with the throttle. So it's actually quite intuitive to drive. One problem with the transmission is when the car gears down, you feel it. You know when it has geared down because it will upset the car in a way. But with this suspension setup, that upset movement from the gear going down to 1 is almost fully alleviated. Wow, yeah, this car is heavy. I broke late there. I forgot. I thought I was in a more conventional car with less weight. But I think I'm getting back into it. Also, there's a microphone in my face, so it's a bit irritating to me right now. But we're gonna brake hard, yeah. Hard. We're gonna take this one in inside, control the brake. Yeah, look at that. This car requires brake control. The brakes are kind of your best friend for controlling how much understeer and oversteer you want. Brake early in this car. You have to brake early. And controlling throttle is also quite important. As you saw there, I released off the throttle to influence oversteer. Basically more rotation through the corner to allow the car to go around the bend. Brake earlier than usual. Come around here again, and then we're gonna fully jam it here. We'll overtake Ford GT quite easily. We have the power, we have, you know, the electric motors, but we're not gonna do that Bugatti. We're not gonna do that Veneno. They are insane straight line speed monsters. Brake earlier than usual. Your brakes are your best friend. In this event, you cannot touch the other cars if you want to get a clean race bonus. And we're gonna jam it here. Immediate response from the motors, 4-wheel drive. It just shoots out of a corner like a bullet. Brake there. Put full over here, off a bit. Full over here again. Again, this car requires trust. You must trust it will rotate. And once again, with the suspension setup, it will rotate. I broke late there again because I'm used to lighter cars, more traditional cars. Come around this bend, no lift because the car's heavy. Keep power. It still does feel unnatural on some instances of cornering, and that's because it's an electric car. It's got a electronically controlled differential. Look at this. The amount of grip this car has in high-speed corners is amazing, mainly because of that weight. Look, I'm eating this corner up. I'm using the throttle to control, and then I flat around here. Enough grip. This car is surprising to drive. The suspension is a lifesaver. It allows the car to rotate. The brakes allow the car to stop. We're flying around here. Look at this. Flat around here, lift a bit, flat again. Brake early. compared to other cars. Even though it's got fancy brakes, look at that. It is unnatural rotation, but you must have trust. You must expect it to rotate out of nowhere. So keeping your throttle steady and ready for power and no power, very important to maintain balance with this car. Brake early again. I can't stress that enough. If you're going to drive this car, brake early. I'm gonna floor it here. The Vulcan, we're gonna keep its slipstream. I am gaining quite a bit now, Now we're gonna get out of its way. Brake early. The Vulcan broke way earlier than me, but it's fine. These are computers, they're very stupid. Look at that. The balance. It maintains the line I give it. Damn it. Computers are so slow. Whatever. Computers are so slow. Not the way, buddy. Honk at it. Useless. 100 mark. Release once you get to the curb. Release off a bit and then flat around here. Now this car still does have understeer because it's weight. Weights will continue dragging the car, so there's still understeer. Okay, inside, no. We'll let it go. We'll just let it go for now. I already crashed into a stupid Porsche for braking so early, and we'll let it go again. Outside, coming out of the corner, I will take it up easily like that because of that acceleration. I'll come out wide, release off. And I should have, jabbed the brake, I think there. Brake earlier. Rotate. No, floor it. Yeah, this car is amazing for an electric car that weighs this much. In fact, it drives better than some properly dedicated supercars and even hypercars. The Bugatti is useless around corners. It's also heavy, 1.8 tons and I think 2 tons for the Chiron. Those cars are heavy, and because of the insane amount of power, it's almost, I would say, useless to use those cars on a corner. You can't easily modulate the power. There's just 1,000 horsepower, 1,500, and we got 800, and it's electric power as well, so it's instant torque, it's instant delivery. Brake here. Rotate. You saw how it just rotated on its own. It is still unnatural, but you must just expect it to rotate and then straighten out again. You can't do anything about that except for maybe also reducing the weight. I have a lightened up Taycan. I haven't driven that in a while, but I just remembered it was way more natural feeling to drive that car because of the lack of weight. Again, 1.6 tons even in the modern era of cars is actually light, so lightening up your Taycan will help dramatically. Jab the brake off, full here, trust the car's rotation, full here, 100 mark, brake hard, slowly off the brake, delivering power, coming closer to the curb, coming closer, floor it here, power, the speed, down the crest, brake hard, right before the white line. Come on, bit wide, maintain the line, go to this side, jab the brake, allow the car, trust it, just trust the car, trust me bro. Floor it right here, jab the brake, rotate, power, off, power, full power here, we're gonna brake hard over here, at the end of the curb, release. Trust the car, put more power here, and then full over here. Look at this, I'm flying, this car is literally flying. Brake hard here, hard, off the brake, trust the car, just put a touch of power, and then floor it here. Wow, Let's see if I can floor it here. I can. Ooh, I'm going off a bit. Yeah, I'm braking much earlier than I was carrying way more speed than I'm used to for this track. But that's because I just want to showcase how much grip this car has on high speed corners because of that weight. Come around. Brake earlier than I did before. Nice. Trust the car. Don't panic, just allow it to rotate. I'm doing this with no assist as well, so it's a bit, you know, weird controlling instant power, especially instant 800 horsepower of power. Simple. It's just, I hate the fact that I hit that 918 Spider because it broke earlier than expected, but then I remembered computers, even on hard, they're useless. Look at that. That Vulcan was catching up though, but I think I would have, even if it was a 5th lap, I would have still left it in the dust because of that out of corner acceleration. My skill, these computers are stupid, and also the car's high speed powers. It's just in high speed corners, it's actually pretty amazing. Still unnatural again. I can't stress that enough. It still feels a bit, you know, bit of this. You're turning on the corner, you turn, then it kind of does this a little bit, like a wave almost. That's the most unnatural feeling about this car. Also, the braking does feel also kind of unnatural because of the regen effect. When I mean unnatural, you think when you harden the brakes, you expect it to slow down and slow down and slow down and really do slow down, but it just kind of slows down gradually and you don't feel it slowing down more and more and more. It's a very just slowing down. As you can see, it looks cool. I mean, I don't hate the look of this car. It's based on the Mission E concept back in 2016. Oh, I was in grade 7 when they showed that off. I was like, this car is cool. I love the look of this car. When they showed the concept, I was like, this is awesome. Then they announced it in 2018, it's coming to production. 2020, it came to Gran Turismo Sport. I was like, this car looks cool. Although in sport, I was expecting this car to drive like a Porsche, not a 911, but I think just a sports car. Yeah, I know the brakes disappointed me. I don't know anything about suspension, so I was like, yeah, this car sucks. Until I picked it up a few months ago this year, and I was like, you know what? Can't hurt to try this car, like properly learn the car. And as you can see, it's a lot of fun to learn how to drive this car. It does require trust, patience, and also you need to brake early. But if you want an electric car in this game, this might be the first option. I have not driven the Tesla Model S. That's one motor in the back. The Porsche VGT is horrible to drive. It's very light, it's got a lot of power, but there's no downforce, there's no weight. So when you come over that crest, the front lifts and then you can't brake because basically both wheels are off the road at that point and you just slam into the wall. Also, the brakes on that Porsche are even worse than this, and that's a track envision. It's a vision of a track ready electric car. It looks cool though, sounds a bit cooler with its synthesized noise, but this car is amazing. I recommend this car. It's great fun. I think that ends my quick review now. I will end off with this review maybe with a nice interior shot so that you can hear the cool whirring noises. If you want to watch a real life review of this car, go ahead. I can't say anything about how this car drives in real life. I don't even have a driver's license. I just play this game for fun. But anyway, great car in Gran Turismo. And answering that question I said in the description, is an electric future fun or engaging? It's not that engaging. I don't feel anything with my Logitech steering wheel. There's barely any sound, but I will say it is fun. It is fun to learn how to drive this car to its fullest. It is actually is pretty much a lot of fun. That's why I've put so many kilometers learning and having fun, exploiting this car's weight and grip to get a faster and faster and faster lap time. And in the end, learning this car with this much weight and its artificial balance has helped me learn other cars, which also sometimes feels very synthesized. But I'll end it off here. This car is amazing. And I'll see you in the next quick live review, even though this was not quick at all. This was 30 minutes. But I'll end it off as we finish off this lap. Goodbye.